Welcome back. Okay, with more record-breaking COVID case numbers this weekend, Premier Ford is issuing a grim warning ahead of the release of new provincial modeling. Have a look at this.
I'm asking one more time. We need to band together. We need to stick together. We're going to see some real turbulent waters over the next couple months.
Okay, and that was posted to some social media channels. Now, the data is expected to be released tomorrow as the Ford government considers new lockdown restrictions with talk of a possible curfew. Let's bring in Queen's Park reporter Richard Southern joining us now. We're going to break this all down. Richard, obviously you've been following all of this for months. First of all, good morning to you.
Morning, Mel. How are you?
I'm doing all right, but when we look at some of the messaging, I was going back to Friday and hearing Premier Ford at that press conference, and it was a very different tone. He's been very serious throughout all of this, but his words were never stronger, and he kept repeating that people are going to be so shocked about what they see. So do you have any inside scoops of what that could be?
Yeah, the modeling data, right? Which now, sources are telling me won't be coming out until Tuesday. We thought it was going to be coming out on Monday. And, as you were talking about before the break, people were saying, well, why didn't you just release it on Friday if it was so bad? The Premier's office, Mel, telling me that the doctors wanted to see a few more days of data. That's why the modeling apparently has been pushed back, the release of it. We have seen some of it in that they released some numbers regarding the positivity rates for school-age children, which was high. That's one of the reasons why they pushed back the return to class for elementary students. I want to talk about the timeline, though, as far as new restrictions is concerned. Sources told me Premier Ford and his cabinet did meet in the afternoon on Friday at Queen's Park to talk about this. No decision was made. As it stands right now, no final decision has been made, I'm told. But what's going to happen today is the health table, led by Dr. Williams, is going to make their recommendations to the cabinet. So Dr. Williams is going to say potentially, hey, we'd like to see a curfew. We'd like to see maybe some factories shut down. We'd like to see maybe some construction shut down. And then the cabinet is apparently, I'm told, going to look at this today. They're going to make their final decision on that. So that's kind of the timeline. I don't know for sure that we're going to hear about new lockdown measures tomorrow, but that's my suspicion is that, Mel, we're going to see the modeling data come out, and I think the government might use that as justification for lockdown measures that they may announce tomorrow. That's my thinking here.
Okay, so let's rewind a little bit. This is not the first time that they've released projections. Obviously, we've seen this throughout the entire lockdown, and some of it has been accurate. Some of it has been a little bit off, but as of late, these numbers are aligning with what they projected. So how bad could it get, do you think?
Well, I mean, what Premier Ford is really concerned about and why he had that, almost panic tone on Friday was because of what we're seeing in hospital ICUs, right? And we're hearing from the hospitals, hey, we're already cutting back on non-essential services. So I think the real concern when you ask how bad it can get is with the hospitals and with the ICUs, because they're quickly filling up right now. And that's why I think that this government is looking to put in place further measures to try and get that under control. And the biggest measure might be a curfew. And have you talked to Mel on here on BT about what they're doing in Quebec? Because that's really the only thing we have to look at. Have you heard some of the details in Quebec with this curfew?
Yeah, we have. And it's interesting on whether or not, they're opening up their schools again, though, today. But the idea, and they are handing out tickets and issuing fines. Whether or not we can do that here, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work. I'm not against the idea of it, but it's about the enforcement behind it. And do you know, I know they're dabbling in this. They've been talking about this for some time, but would a curfew work in Ontario? What do you think?
It's going to be very difficult to enforce. We've already seen confusion over the weekend in Montreal where people were stopped. They said you can walk your dog, Mel, at night, but only within a kilometer of your house. But then, you and your partner, they found two people walking the dog, and the cops would say, well, only one person can walk the dog. So there's a lot of confusion about that. I'm going to look for some other things here out of Queen's Park about the closure of manufacturing facilities. We know there's been a lot of COVID spread within workplaces. The government could go ahead and say, we're going to close down manufacturing, not food manufacturing. We want to keep that working. We could shut down other manufacturing. We could stop construction sites, right? This could have all sorts of implications here in Toronto where we need new homes being built, but they could put a pause to that. So there's a number of things we could do, but you're right. The curfew is going to be very difficult to enforce, Mel. There's no question about that.
Oh boy. Okay, so we will be watching with your social media as well, Richard, over the next couple of days. As well, stay with City News and citynews.ca. We'll stream all of the announcements live on our website, as we always do. We thank you for waking up at 6:30 a.m., Richard. I know usually it's a p.m. deal for you, so thank you.
I'll see you on the PM on City News. Thanks, Mel. Good to see you.
Go get a nap. All right, we'll talk to you soon. And with everything that Richard just broke down here, we want to get your take and ask you this. What else should the province do to curb the spread of COVID-19 in our province? You heard him say maybe construction sites being shut down, maybe manufacturing potentially shut down. Schools, should they be extended, that closure? 1-866-267-3797. Feedback at breakfasttelevision.ca. Let us know what you think as well about a curfew. Would it work?